Hello, good morning, welcome to Bars and Bells. My name's Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And this is class number 2 of PROBUS. We'll be exploring and working on some skills we worked on last week, as well as advancing those skills into some new movements.
But here we are in our bare feet with that similar implement, your chair, your ottoman, your railing at the side for some balances. We have our body weight. We don't need much else. So let's first check in with our breath. Any stance of your choice. Lauren standing, nice little squat stance, so I'll copy that. Open up, check in. Hand belly, hand chest. Take a breath in. Exhale. For a few more breaths in a row, breath in through the nose with the mouth closed. And where is that breath going today as we exhale? For the next 2, breathe in, pushing the belly out into the hand. 4 seconds in, and 4 seconds exhale. One more time like that. Belly out as we breathe in, filling full, and exhaling. Now repeat that effort in the chest. A breath in, and feel that chest hand move. It's hard to time the talking and the breathing, and slowly exhale. Again, with the bottom hand calm, expand that rib cage and chest, breathing in. And then your exhale. Now one more time to the belly, breath in. Slow exhale. And one more time to the chest, breath in. Exhale. Slow down with the breath. Sighs and wiggles in between. And from here, Lauren will take us through some wrists and some ankles, continuing on.
Standing tall, extend one arm at your side so that your palm is up and your elbows tucked in. Gently pull your shoulder blade back. Then I like to take my other hand and just grip onto my forearm here. We're going to perform the wrist circles, connecting the dots we did last week. So with that extended hand, gently pull down so the palm faces away from you. From there, start drawing a circle towards the midline of your body. So your hand or your wrist will start turning in towards center. It'll come all the way up towards your face for full flexion. And then you'll start reaching out away from the body, making sure that arm and body doesn't shift with you as you reach to the lateral side and ending up where you started. Same circle, other direction. Start going towards the thumb side or the lateral side of the body as you carve out that circle, bringing the palm all the way up. It's going to come across your body to the pinky side and then slowly into that extension. Relax that wrist, shake it out, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Flexing at the elbow, elbow in tight, shoulder retracted. I like to steady my forearm by gripping with the other arm. And then we'll start in that extension. So from that wrist extension, we'll start drawing the circle towards the midline of the body and carving out as we come towards palm towards face. To the lateral side, reaching out to the thumb where there might not be much circle out there. And ending up back in extension. Other direction, towards the thumb side. All the way up, palm faces you. Towards the midline and extending down. Relax that, shake those wrists out. From there, we'll revisit an ankle warm-up we did last week with your balance aid. So that balance isn't an issue right now. We'll work on balance a little bit later. We're going to press our foot into the floor, peeling the heel away. And then press that heel down as the other heel comes up. We're staying nice and tall. March through that one more time each side. Heel peels up. And last time, that ball of the foot and the toes are heavy. We're going to add on to that. This time, to that ball of the foot and the toes. Now push into the floor so you get to that really pointed foot. Maybe there might be a light cramp. Try to work through it, even rolling over those toes if possible. Then come back to that full point, down through the balls of the feet, pushing the heel down. The other foot will come up, heel will lift, push into the floor with those toes, gently roll over, trying to tuck those toes, rolling back to point, down through that foot, and heel gently presses down. As much as we want tension in those ankles, can we also have some relaxation? Try wiggling out each ankle for a couple seconds there.
Wiggle, wiggle.
Nice. From there, we'll get into some shrugs and shoulders and hips.
Work on those. Yep,
Sorry, side note. I'm just gonna push a little button on the camera. I noticed our microphone down here is on. I'd like to change that. Go ahead.
Change it up. Check in with those little things. So before we get into the wrist extension position, like in the push-up, check in on that position here. And as well, go those other places that real life might take us, or maybe our training doesn't. So again, to improve that wrist extension, we'll always work on those ankles. Shoulder mobility, that's another big one. How can we help with that? Shoulder blades first. With the palms forward in this A position, or an upside down V, I guess, too. Elevate the shoulders as, I don't know, little shrug. Then pull the shoulder blades down. Repeat one last time as we shrug, I don't know, straight arms and pulling those shoulder blades down. Next, retract or squeeze the shoulder blades together, pulling a pencil between the two of them perhaps. And then from the armpits, push the shoulder blades away from center, wrapping around your body. Repeat one last time in that retraction or the squeeze. And then from this armpit place here, push that shoulder blade towards forward, wrapping around the rib cage. Wiggle out those arms for a second. Continue in that A position or extend the task as we flex the elbows and approach the W. In the W, we have a neutral line, pinky, wrist, elbow stacked, all in a nice straight line like a knife edge. From here, shrug, I don't know, and then pull down, those armpits fully engaged. Shrug again, I'm not so sure, shrug up, and then pull them down. Next, retract those shoulder blades as to squeeze, and pull away from center. One more time in the retraction, and then that depression and pull around. Extend the elbows to the side, add the friendly wiggle, and then shake that out. Let's continue our exploration of the alphabet, and so far we've been to the A and the W. Let's extend the task as we approach the T and the Y. As we go to the Y or the overhead, check in with your personal mobility in the shoulders. It's okay if this is out front and overhead. Our gold standard is something along these lines here, but check in, don't rush, stay strong from these muscle groups here, those armpits. So let's start in the W. From the W, lightly elevate the shoulders and then set them down, a position of strength. From here, extend the elbows out to the side, watch out for your neighbor, fully extending or straightening at the elbows with those palms forward. At this position, gently shrug, I don't know, but then pull down, supporting that arm from these structures right here. Pull the elbows back to the W and repeat one more time to the T. If you're with Lauren, go to the Y. As I go towards this T, Lauren will going towards overhead, fully extending those elbows. At the end of this range, for one last time, just elevate or shrug the shoulders, and then pull down, and from the T or the Y, pull the elbows back to the ribs, extend the elbows, palms forward, and wiggle it.
Nice. From the shoulders, a ball and socket joint, to the hips. Let's explore the movement there. This time, again with your balance aid, we'll stand tall on our inside leg. That means that leg is stacked, engaged from the foot to the knee, to the quad pulling up and the glute squeeze. Core brace as well. Light grip on your object. Take your outside leg and gently point that to the front. With a pointed foot, keep the leg there. Now flex the foot or pull the foot to the shin. Pull the foot, okay, good. Sorry, it looked like Ian was still pointing. Go back to your pointed foot. And then from there, turn your inseam up. So you're externally rotating the leg. Turn the leg back to center. And then gently turn the leg in or hide your inseam. Turn back to neutral leg. Let's pull to return that leg back underneath and do the same thing from the side. The leg goes out to the side. From that pointed foot, pull the foot to the shin to flex. Then point the foot again. In the socket, try to rotate the inseam of your pants forward, trying not to move your pelvis or hips here. Then hide the inseam by rotating it down. Come back to that neutral place and pull to return the leg underneath. Good. We'll reach long out the back, first by pointing our leg out behind us, trying to reach long, keeping that knee nice and straight and trying not to arch our low back. Hold for a second, then roll over the foot and pull the leg back to center. Let's connect those one each direction on this side. Point to the front. Gently open up or turn the inseam up. Bring that leg to the side. From the side here, turn the leg in or pushing the knee will end up pointing forward. Draw that circle all the way around to the back, right behind you. Roll over the foot and pull the leg back under. Once to the back. Reach long out the back. Now right away, you'll try to turn that leg in its socket to bring the inseam forward right away. Make sure you touch the side of your circle, all the way around to the front, and then leg pulls and you grow tall underneath. Nice. Shake it out, that standing leg. There was a lot of work there, just stabilizing that movement.
Yeah, we didn't do too much yesterday, in all honesty, so today feels really nice to move those hips.
We did stand a lot.
Did stand, but nothing out there.
So tall on our inside leg again, balance 8 at your side. Point first front, and then flex the foot by pulling the foot to the shin. Point the foot, and now our rotations. Inseam up or external rotation, then through center, then inseam down or internal rotation. Back to center, leg pulls, you grow tall. Nice, to the side, pointing out the foot first, then pull the foot to the shin, point, this time inseam forward, trying to keep a straight knee, then hide the inseam or turn it down. Nice, turn it back to neutral and pull the leg underneath. Out the back we point, so we reach long out the back, pointing over the foot, trying to keep the knee straight, trying to keep our core engaged, and then roll back over the foot to return under. One circle each way. To the front first, inseam opens up. Take that leg to the side. Try to press your hips forward as the leg comes to the side. Then hide the inseam or turn it down, and finish the circle all the way around to the back. Right behind you, right behind you. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
And then roll over. Knowing behind you is quite hard. One more time to the back. Reach long out the back. In the socket, open the leg up, bringing the leg to the side, still keeping your hips forward. Leg comes all the way around to the front, through the foot, and grow tall under. Those hips.
Those hips. In our practice, we use that clock analogy quite a bit. Sometimes it can be on the wall out in front of you. Midnight, 6, 3s or 9s, depending what side of the screen we're on here. The clock can also be on the floor. Midnight being straight ahead, 9s and 3s, and 6 behind. Most commonly, these places out 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or those back corners and those leg bars, they get warm. Check in. Go out there like a skate stride. Be out there for nice and strong hips. Check in on the clock. Personally, my most challenging places are those 4s and 8s.
We're getting to the
you should just
clock.
keep that squat going if you're cool with that.
We're getting to the clock here.
Yeah.
We'll explore our clock right now, as Ian discussed there. So standing with our feet underneath us, this you want to have a little bit of room for, like this much room. And with your feet, that much room. Okay, now that that's all clear, feet underneath you. We're going to take a single leg and point our foot to noon on the clock. So point, tap noon, and then pull that leg, return it underneath. This is where we're working on our balance, as well as other things. Now, point the leg out to 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock, depending on your leg, and pull it back underneath. Now 3 or 9 o'clock, pull back under center. 4 or 8 o'clock, like Ian said, skating, pull back under center. And then this last one, 6 o'clock, rolling over the foot, pointing out the back, rolling back over, and tall to finish on that side. Same thing, second side. Leg points to noon, and then pull, grow tall underneath. To 10 or 2, and pull, grow tall underneath. Trying to stay rooted in that other foot. 3 and 9, and pull back to center. And then 8 and 4, skating, pulling back to center. And last one, rolling over the foot, pointing out the back, and then back under to center. Before we change our feet from this parallel position, let's do 2 or 3 parallel squats. Come forward a little.
I just noticed that,
good.
sorry. Yeah.
From here, you're standing tall, feet are rooted. You're gonna gently, depending on knees and hips and ankles, gently press your knees towards over your toes. You can see this the best in Ian's side profile. He's sending his knees forward. His shoulders are staying stacked over his hips. Press into the floor to extend out of that. Do mini movements right now. If that needs to be a minor bend, that's fine. If you can sink a little deeper, find that room, but then find strength to press out. Let's do one more. Gently knees over toes, and then to stand up, drive your feet into the floor and extend your hips, squeezing both your butt cheeks. And then relax. Nice. Little
Awesome.
rib cage.
The rib cage, shoulder mobility, those overhead shapes can improve if we address the stuff going on in the T-spine or the rib cage right here. I'll open my stance fairly wide here. That's sumo stance or similar. Then hands on chest, rib cage, and abs. Imagine this hips as a bowl of punch. Lauren often refers to our hips as this nice little hip bowl. Then if our rib cage is maybe a ball or an object that could oscillate in that in the hip bowl. Making sense? Almost? Okay. With the hands close to the body, laterally flex the rib cage while staying over top of your hip bowl. Return to center. Try one more to the other side, laterally flexing the rib cage while staying over the hip bowl. Return to center. For a quick distinction, Laura and I will both demonstrate not that. Take a look. We're doing our side bend, but we're spilling all that punch out. Return to center. Wiggle that out if you did that. That's okay too. But first, for a couple more each side, laterally flex the rib cage over top of your hip bowl. And then return center. Same thing other side. Pull, push. Feel this activation through the core to help. Because I'm trying to look at the camera, I feel my neck is doing a little bit of a weird thing. Maybe keep the chin in nice and tight to drive that action through the rib cage. Last one to the other side, I believe. Nice and even numbers. And then relax. Mobilize that rib cage. Start with gentle bends. We'll add a rotation in a second.
All right, we're going back to our movement clock. So the first clock we explored, both legs stayed straight. On this next clock, we're gonna try to bend our standing leg. What that'll look like, I'll show you one and then we'll do it all together. What that'll look like is a gentle bend in this knee, anywhere from this much bend and extend to this much bend and extend. So our knee is again pressing towards over our toe, our hips are staying underneath our shoulders, and then we're driving and both legs come under us together. Okay, little bend to big bend, depending on what your knees say. Standing in parallel, tall, tall. We're gonna press a knee towards over a toe, taking the other leg, tapping it to noon, and pulling back to tall. Same leg, tapping out to 10 or 2 on the clock. And pulling under, growing tall. Same leg, 3 or 9. Pulling under, growing tall. Reaching this time to our 8 and 4. And pulling under and growing tall. And our last one is 6 o'clock. I like to extend that leg out the back, rolling over the toe, as then the knee gently bends and everything comes up to extension. Good, shake that out. Same thing, second side. Knee presses over toe, this side might be different. Noon on the clock. Up, squeeze those glutes as you press your hips forward. Same thing, 10 and 2. Extend, squeeze, brace. 9 and 3. Pull all the muscles in and up. 8 and 4, little speed skater, up to tall. And last one out the back to 6 o'clock on the clock, reaching behind us and then rolling over to tall. Nice. Shaking that out. Great. Let's do a little rib cage and then go wide transfers.
The rib cage again. The rib cage is again capable of the flexion and extension like in our cat-cows, and then laterally the way we just described. As well, the rotation. Let's open up in our squat stance or wider. Could also be seated, by the way. Hands across those rib cages and bellies. Tighten up. Feel strong right here. At the head neck, can it rotate? I'll look over my right shoulder towards Lauren. My hips and shoulders stay forward. Rotate to your right and left, modestly as always, pulling the crown of your head to the ceiling. Last one each side. Create room by pulling the crown to the ceiling. Return center, and then shake. Now, with the chin coming along for the ride with that sternum or rib cage, let's rotate from midnight straight ahead towards 1 o'clock. So let's go towards our right. Okay? Hands on bodies. Squeeze your butt cheeks. Press your feet into the floor. And can the sternum, along with that rib cage, rotate to the right towards about 1 o'clock. Return center. Let's go through center towards the 11 o'clock. Nice and control. And then return center. If allowed, try to reach towards 2 o'clock. Not very far. It'll feel a little bit bigger. It might feel more restricted. But nice and control. Rotate towards that 2. And then pull center. And last time, maybe towards 10. This T-spine is meant to move. But honestly, not a lot. Not like an owl. Let's return to center. Add a wiggle. We might come back to that rib cage again and that cat-cow at the very end, but add those directional changes, the bends first, and nice light rotations to liberate the rib cage.
Nice. We'll get back to some leg movement here. We're gonna leave our clock for now. We'll be doing clocks in the future, but for now we'll step our feet out slightly wider than our hips. And just feel the weight shift right now. Keep your feet on the floor, but feel that weight shift. As you go to one side, you might feel that hip pop out. Let's not let that happen. Keep it behind you. Feel that shift. Now, you might want to close those feet a little closer together now, because you could feel how that shift might not happen. So pull those legs in a bit tighter. Now press into one foot so that the heel lifts up off the floor, and you almost end up in this pointed foot here. You should feel the stack or the transfer of weight starting to happen on that single leg. Let's accept the floor through that foot, pulling the floor down, and then gently press into the floor to start transferring to the other leg. And then pull to center. Was that too wide? Do you feel like you need to narrow that a little bit? Adjust as needed. Because we're going to do a full transfer this time. We're going to press into the floor so that we get to that ball of foot and toe point. Now I want you to use your toes to point your foot. And then feel 99% of your weight stacked on this single leg here. Rooted into the floor, glutes squeezed, hips pressing forward. Now through this pointed foot, ball of foot goes down and then heel comes down. Try the other side. Press the floor away, then use your toes to point. 99% of your weight is stacked on that single leg. Hold for a couple seconds. One more time each side, maybe with a full balance hold. Pull through the floor, press over, pointed foot now. When you're ready, 99%, and then could you lift holding 100% of that weight stacked on a single leg, balancing with control for 3, 2, come out of that by tapping the foot down, pulling through the foot, and then driving away, pressing to the other side. Through that full point, 99%, when you're ready, 100%. Hold. I like to think my ankle is under my hip, is under my shoulder, my core, and then tap that foot down, pull to center, and relax, shaking it out. Nice.
Those wiggles in between, they keep it nice and light. and give your body an opportunity to check in with the tension required to maintain the balance. And then those wiggles in between that connect the dots for movement.
Hinges.
Hinges. Hinges. Let's watch Lauren as we demonstrate a hinge. Hallmarks of the hinge are the hips go back, and there's a beautiful straight line from our hips through our shoulders and head neck. Stand up nice and tall. Repeating that, we'll chop on those hip flexors, press the hips back, setting up a nice long spine. Other hallmarks of this movement include vertical shins down low. Then stand up. Any other cues you can share with us as you do that twice more? Now let's join in on the hinge for 2 or 3 repetitions as Lauren can cue us through.
With your feet slightly wider than your hips and pointed forward, standing tall, gently take your hands, pressing your hips back. Your knees are allowed to bend, they just don't come forward. So you keep those shins vertical. Pause in that position for a couple seconds. Are your toes all touching the ground? Your feet rooted? Are your shins neutral? You can look down and check them out. And then right now you should feel some weight through those hamstrings and butts. Now drive into the floor, pushing out on it to extend your hips through to stand tall. At the top, both butts are squeezed, touch them. Oh yeah. And then brace your core as well. Now relax for a second. Let's do that 2 more times, a little bit faster. Chop your hips, pressing them back. You're about to pick something heavy up, so load up, bracing your core, using the hamstrings to press the floor away to extend to tall. Last time, hip hinge, feeling that weight through hamstrings and glutes, a core brace, a drive into the floor, extending through to tall, all glutes, all abs. Relax.
Let's wiggle that out, and 2 more points about that hinge movement before we continue. If Lauren were to hinge against a wall, or in this case our chair, we'll look to hinge and have the hips touch or approach touching the chair. Extend through. If, I'll get out of the way here, if on that hinging movement you do not close the gap between, so kind of fake hinge, if we do not close the gap between the hips and the chair, the load is on your spine, and that is the difference that we would like to train against. We like our forward fold, but this, 1 or 2 more, is a beautiful hinge where the hips go back towards the chair and then extend through. Check in. That nice cue might help you feel the load on the hamstrings, as Lauren said. Oh, let's keep that close.
Yeah.
Because last week, Lauren described this get up or get down. We have heard through the grapevine that that was an interesting drill, and we like to continue that evolution up and down to the floor. Join with the chair. Have those balance aids at your side. And one of the things we like to preach in our training is only go as far as you feel safe to come home from. Don't go too low, but take your time in each unique position, build awareness and strength to learn how to get up and get down. With a hand across the chest, my left. What leg is available to touch easily? That's the right one for me. I'll take that right leg and step back in a lunge. And nice and control with the balance aid at the side, take your time returning to this lunge position. Then, can we wiggle that leg along the floor out to the side? Check. Then let's just rotate the upper body so the sternum looks the direction of that knee. For 1 more movement, let's hinge on this hip and place a hand on the floor. Take a look at the hand on the floor. Then take a look towards the ceiling. And then press the floor away. And now our sternum could be lined up with the leg laterally facing. And now take that to the front. And Lauren cued us to use our butt. She cued us to brace those core muscles. So take a big breath in. And on the abs to stand up. And a wiggle, of course. Reorganize yourself or the proximity to the chair, and let's repeat those steps on the other side. I'll have my right hand across chest. My left arm touches that left leg, which then drops back in my lunge, and I take my time, use a balance aid if you need, returning to this ground position. Then wiggle or sidestep that leg to the side. And from here, add that upper body rotation so our sternum lines up with the knee facing lateral. Then hinge. The hips go back and the hand finds the floor. Take a quick look at that hand on the floor, rotating through the rib cage as well. Then with the eyes and head, gaze towards the ceiling. Rotate through the body, and then press the floor away, returning to the tall lunge. Rotate the leg forward, the body comes with. From here, cueing the abs, high, we'll stand up and return to our tall. Hinges, where this squats, we break some of those rules and look to get our buttocks towards the ground. Looking at Lauren as she does a couple squats only, just look. Personalize your stance. Check in. If we look at those knees, in this case, they will be going over those toes. Extend. Pulling ourselves down and pressing ourselves away. Shake it out and cue us through 3 or 4 more squats there, Lauren, with your favorite tidbits to train with.
All right. Just to clarify one other thing, our squats, our knees drop, or our hips drop below our knees, or try to. In our hinge, our hips stay higher than our knees. Remember that.
Check
or
that.
Try. Turned out, I like to rock back and forth between my feet just to find my natural footfall. Then from here, without bending your knees, try pulling the floor together underneath you. Pull, 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 pull. And you should feel those adductors or their inner thighs light up. And then relax. This time, create that tension again, pulling the floor together. And you'll pull so much, your knees will start to bend. Go to your safe low. And then when you're at your safe low, press the floor away, driving into the floor and out to stand up tall, extending your hips through. Let's try that again. We'll pull ourselves down. As we do that, our knees will go forward. We'll try to drop our hips. We'll keep our chest up and our spine nice and long. Find your safe low. Drive the floor away to stand tall. 2 more if we could. Pull the floor together. Also creating tension in the abs by bracing the core, making that shell, and then driving down and away to stand tall. One last time, pulling the floor together. If your butt is not getting lower than your knees, that's fine. Mine hasn't been for all of these. And then drive down and away to stand tall. Shaking it out. Nice couple squats there.
Yeah, squatting is that direction. We can squat in that plie exercise as Lauren did in the very early parts of our warm-up here, dropping those hips towards the ground, the direction of the squat. Get-ups again. Are get-ups okay? We do like to hear from you, so let us know how this practice is going in that chat feature or through the email after class. But until then, let's get down to then get up. Hand across chest. That leg that you can touch will then drop to the lunge. Take your time. Pull yourself down with strength. Open that leg towards the side next, and then the upper body to rotate as well. The hinging of the hips go back, the hand finds the floor. From here, stay here with me or join Lauren as she takes over to the sweep.
My back leg will sweep through, my butt landing on the floor. I'll come to my elbow and then slowly pressing away from my elbow to find the floor on my back.
From here, if we weren't comfortable getting up and down to the floor, let's reverse those steps as you go back towards that lunge, hiya, on those abs, and then on an elevated surface, such as a chair, the window ledge, something stable, we'll cue our plank.
If you're on the floor, you're also doing a plank. So roll over.
Watch for one more moment here as Lauren demonstrates our plank. Today we'll be performing that movement from the elbows. Her spine currently is in extension, lifting that chest up like that little baby cobra. So for now, relax your chest onto the floor.
Me?
Yeah. Because the shape that is important, integral to the plank, isn't the upper back movement as much as what's going to go on between those ribs and the hips. With the chest on the floor, arms in a parallel position, she'll tuck those hips under, scooping the front of the hip towards the belly button. our posterior tip of the hip, and then relax. Join Lauren if you're on the ground. From standing, we can do the same thing as we would take ourselves from an exaggerated position like this, tuck under the hips, and squeeze your butt cheeks. And can we hold that tension and breathe for 4 more seconds? For 4, 3, maintain that tuck and relax. Keep that in mind, that rib cage to hip connection, that pelvic tilt to add strength to your plank. From here, let's join Lauren as she presses herself away from that floor with her knees. Now, can we do that same thing? We'll tuck under. Let's hold that position with bum cheeks squeezing, and I'll just join on those chairs for us up on the chair, a couple more seconds holding that position. Walk forward if you're like me on the chair, press yourself to standing, and Lauren, Team Lauren, just rest on the ground. In our practice, we like high-intensity planks for short intervals to mimic your moments in the get-up, the heavy lifting moments out in the garden, planks for core strength. Let's do that again with a couple additional cues. So for those on chairs, get back to the chair. For those on the floor, modify your plank's position on the knees or extend away if you know what's coming next. But for the next 10 seconds, we will cramp these butt cheeks with a good squeeze. Brace the abdominals with a effort and breathe. And for a couple more seconds, pull your fists into the floor and then gently put your knees down. Reset, walking back if you're on that chair, coming up to standing if you're on that chair, relaxing if you're on the floor. Can we cue that one more time? Interval your planks, 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and 10 seconds back on. So pop those fists into the floor, pull those armpits down, modify your position, and for one last 10 or 15 second round, squeeze your butt cheeks, brace your core, pull the floor together. Maintain that rib and hip connection. If we feel low back, lumbar discomfort, we need to modify this exercise. 2, and relax. Those of us who are up, we've already done it. We've gotten up through that get up. So if you're on the ground, let's listen to Lauren as she cues the get up.
Let's all do this on our right side, so we have the same instructions. Take your right arm, bend it, placing it across your chest. Take your right foot with that knee bent. Your right foot will be close to your butt. Now take your left leg and extend it out from your body about 45 degrees. Take that left arm and put it on the floor parallel with that left leg. From here, drive your right foot into the floor, feeling your right butt cheek squeeze. Now drive hard into the floor, squeezing your right butt cheek, it rolling and pulling yourself up to that elbow. From here, press the floor away, finding your hand. This is where I like to move my right foot now, giving myself a little bit more room. If you feel you have enough strength in a single arm to press yourself away from the floor, you can. Let me show you a modification if you need it. If you need 2 hands, you could place 2 hands on the floor, lift, and sweep that knee under. If you did it with 1, it's press the floor away, sweep the knee underneath. Hand leaves the floor, hips extend. Walk that foot to that lunge position. Using both legs, drive down and out to press to tall. Shake it out.
Shaking it out.
Nice.
Let's just revisit a plank from standing for one last time. One of our trips took us to Poland, and in Poland, they punch. We promise not to punch, but to take home that talking and breathing point of maintaining tension while under the duress of the plank. I'll wiggle. Lauren's going to wiggle too. And then breathing in, bracing, Lauren will maintain abs engaged for 10 seconds as we might even encourage her to sing happy birthday.
No,
no happy birthday. And then relax. Shake it out. Do that one more time. In the plank down below, we're looking for core tension, but being able to maintain our breath. Let's go. Lauren has it on. We're going to squeeze those abs, squeeze your butt, push your feet in the floor, come back to the abs, and for a couple seconds more, squeeze your butt. And then relax. Multitasking is so challenging. I cannot do it very well personally. So I try to reinforce that the breathing happens, the butt squeezing, the core bracing to strengthen the core and spine. Weight transfer is our favorite part of the workout. Go for it, Lauren.
Let's get back to that wider second stance, the place where we press to transfer weight onto a single leg. So find that stance width. Once you're there, root your feet into the floor by gripping or pulling the feet together, pulling the legs together, squeezing your glutes, bracing your core, feeling that tension, and then just gently relax. From here, we're going to incorporate our squat a little bit. So we'll start pulling the floor together underneath us, and our knees will bend, and we'll sit into that bit of a squat stance. Doesn't have to be very low. Now drive one leg into the floor, pressing it to straight, pressing the knee towards over the toes, but keeping the hips forward. Now pull on that straight leg, and it'll start to bend, and then press on the other leg to transfer weight to the other side. Again, hips are forward, knees towards over toes. Push into that bent-legged foot into the floor and start pulling on the other one to press yourself across. This time we'll add our balance. We'll lift our heel off the floor and we'll get to that full pointed foot. Let's go 99% here. 99% of my weight is on this standing leg. 1% only for 3, 2, accept the floor with your foot, pulling across and then driving away. Hips push forward. Point through the foot. 99% on this leg now. Stack it. Could you almost lift this foot and hold a balance? We will this time. Accept the floor through the foot, pulling yourself, and then driving away. Find that balance by pushing through the foot to full point. Stack, and then 100% if you'd like. Load up that single leg 100% for 3, 2, toe ball heel lands. Start pulling the floor and then pressing away. Hips go forward. Hold again, 100%. You're lifting this leg up from this butt cheek. You can feel it start to burn. I have one more time, even though I might not have said that. Pull yourself across and press. Last balance. Maybe you just hold here. Maybe you lift and hold. And if you want a little extra challenge, drive into the floor, straightening that leg, extending the hips. And then the knee will go back over the toe. Toe ball heel, pulling yourself across, driving to the other side for our last balance today. Full weight transfer. Then drive into the floor, extending tall, holding. Hips are forward. Knee goes back over the toe. Toe ball heel, pull yourself through, and then drive down and away to stand tall. Nice, shaking that out. Those are our weight transfers.
Good old-fashioned wiggles right there.
Simple, not easy.
You got it. Let's return to the ground or to the chair one last time to review that cat and cow. There's also an accessory video on this week's link letter, and next week, stay tuned for a couple more sections of movements, 2 to 3 minutes long, that really sell or share the takeaways from the movements from today's session. To the floor, anyhow you want. Sometimes there's rules, sometimes there's no rules, but follow along for us for that get up variation. Hand across chest. Leg we can touch, drop back to the lunge. Balance aids are allowed, and control is essential. Then open to the side, we add a rotation. Then we hinge on that hip, finding the floor. Tall sweeping the leg if you're Lauren. If we need to get away from this movement, join me as I come back up. Lauren takes it over to the floor.
To the elbow, and then slowly press away from that elbow to your back. From here, we'll go to all fours to join in a cat-cow.
All fours, oh my goodness. All fours for the cat-cow. Again, on the elevated surface, like the bench, the box, the chair, do the same thing. That position might look a lot like here. You can use those knees for that as well. Let's just get a little closer there. Okay. So in a hinging position like me, with hands on the chair or your knees, or on all fours like Lauren, is the spine in a straight line with a neutral head, crown pulling away from the hips, long line through the shoulders, with them slightly pulled together in retraction. And then do we have an anterior tip of the hip where our tailbones are pointing towards the ceiling? Awesome. From here, think only the lumbar spine. That's the low back. With the abs on the front, can we take ourselves from that anterior tip of the hip And by pulling on the abdominals, engage the core on the front and flex the spine. Then press those hands into the floor and tip the hips the other direction so that our tail is pointing towards the ceiling and that hip bowl is spilling punch forward. Repeat one more time by pulling on the abdominals to flex or round the spine, and then press away, returning to somewhere neutral in the middle of those two places. For one last time on those hands, build endurance in the wrist extension. From here, pull the shoulders together and then flex the rib cage like a cat pose towards the hips. Then by pressing the hands forward, press the sternum forward, extending to a modest cat pose, making sure the low back did not change shape. One or two more as we shoulders are together here, squeezing, flexing through the rib cage, and then pressing the spine long into extension. Manage the head neck. Repeat one last time as we flex through the spine, keeping the shoulder blades together, and extend the spine, maintaining strength in the low back shape. Relax the effort. Extend the hips if you're standing. And if you're Lauren, catch up halfway through that getup. Just halfway, you're halfway
Oh, I was going to make them do the left side.
Oh, see, I'm the good trainer, nice trainer. Just
Flip
saying.
over.
Okay.
If you want. If you haven't gotten up already, let's do the left side get up. This will be our last move and we'll say goodbye.
If we are standing, let's look at Lauren here and look to follow those cues to refine for the next time.
Left arm across your body. Right leg out straight. Right arm. By straight, I meant 45 degrees off your body a bit. And left arm parallel with that leg. Now using your left foot, press into the floor, squeezing your butt, extending your hip, and pull to that elbow. From here, find the floor with that hand. Adjust legs and hands as needed to lift and sweep your long leg under. Press the floor away. Move your foot to the front for that lunge position, with or without hands, ideally without.
Hi-ya.
To tall.
Hi-ya.
Nice, shake it out.
Awesome. Class 2 PROBUS, Class 2. If I were to consume your product here, I would do it on my TV. And at the last moment, we had someone asking if you can stream with the YouTube app on the smart television. For sure you can, whether you click in through the email link to get you there, or search bars and bells. We'll try to keep this link as a public link on the day of. So if you do happen to go to our channel on YouTube on your smart device, it'd be an easy find. In addition to the weekly link letter, edition 3 coming at you next Monday.
Next Monday.
Next Monday.
Thanks for joining us. Questions or comments, leave us an email, barsandbells@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to hear from you. Thanks, take care, stay strong, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.